Regulation of your heart rate will again be parasympathetic, sympathetic. Again, brainstem, medulla oblongata has a fork in the road, deciding on what the decision is going to be and whether you need to slow down the heart or, of course, whether you need to increase the rate. Now, the fork in the road parasympathetic pathway, the medulla oblongata, it will fork off until the cardiac control center down the vagus nerve, releasing acetylcholine to the nerve cells, creating the SA and the AV nodes. This will have an inhibitory factor on them, or effect on them, and so decrease their activity, braking the heart, and therefore decreasing the rate and force. If the sympathetic pathway is the one that's stimulated, takes the other fork in the road, and from the medulla oblongata goes through the cardio-accelerator reflex center. There's a fill in a blank. Down the accelerator nerves, releasing norepinephrine to the SA and AV nodes, those cluster of nerve cells down there, which actually increase their activity and therefore increases the rate and the force of the heart. So, when you need to get oxygen to the muscles for fight or flight, you do that. When during peaceful times, restful times, you don't do that. Okay, accordingly. That is one of the essays for your exam coming up. Now, I don't want you just to write this in verbatim. Okay, it is an essay, so you are to write 5 points. Could have 5 sentences describing this in detail, using full sentences, and you will get the 5 points. Okay, I'm not giving you the essay, say, here, memorize this and put this down. You are to put this in your own words. You know what the essay is ahead of time, at the beginning of the exam, and so you have time to work on it and to work it out, and to, when you go on the exam, answer that question. They're all up there same time. There's no crime in going and answering the essays first if you want to do that. Okay, but from your memory of what you decide you want to put down as far as this essay goes. Monitoring the blood pressure will be pressoreceptors, remember also known as baroreceptors, like little squeeze toys. Too much pressure gets put on these will fire off an action potential, send a signal so that you can take countermeasures to hopefully lower your blood pressure. Physical forces will lead to increase in heart rate, such as temperature. Your body will start using it as a heat pump, trying to pump the hot blood from internal to the outside to give it off, especially using perspiration. Also, if you mess up the ratio of certain ions, particularly if you get a lot of potassium, normally it's a low, and a ratio from sodium and potassium, we talked about those pumps before, and also calcium. Also, of course, your emotional state. Okay, what you interpret, how you feel, remember, does affect that sympathetic, parasympathetic state. And so if you're upset, okay, if you're frightened, of course, you will increase. If you feel calm and restful, your heart rate will be slower. And the summary of all of this and how all these interact pretty much are given here. Okay, with the pressures and the valves and everything that happens in that little sequence.